Hey, I'm Kim.
And I'm Dr. New. And it's that time of year again
For 28 Days of Love. And it's year 4, New.
How about that?
Year 4.
We got a lineup for you. We have some new things. This is called the Healthy Marriage Series.
Yes.
Going from the 3rd of February through the 28th of February. We have guest speakers. We have interviews with marriage couples. We have panel discussions, live panel discussions.
Yes, at our church. 260 Lafayette Street every Thursday evening, and you can come and be a part of the studio audience.
Everything happens at 6:30 p.m. and we broadcast it live on our Facebook page, our 28 Days of Love Facebook page, and our YouTube channel, Launch 360 TV. Listen. Yes. You don't want to miss this one. We're celebrating, we're making big and making large the institution of marriage because covenant is real.
Yes, it is. And we have so many special guests starting out on Monday. So you don't want to miss it. We're starting out with Dr.K and Stallings. And that's all I'm going to say. Check out our lineup, and we can't wait to see you for 28 Days of Love.
Well, welcome in, everyone, to 28 Days of
Love. Welcome. It is year 4.
Year 4, Quattro. Hey. And we're excited, as you can tell, we're excited today. Listen, we have a treat. We've been telling you all the last couple of weeks. We've been telling you we have a treat tonight for you. We have a treat listen, I don't even have words. I've known this young lady for a few years now, and I've never been less than amazed whenever I've heard her talk or go forth. I remember in our younger days, she was always like extra wise. I was telling Kim, she was always such a lady, right? But would jack you up, But always such a lady and just someone that I have admired from a distance. So I'm so glad that Dr. K, Karen Stallings, is going to speak with us tonight. So we have some questions. We're going to go back and forth. But listen, get your notebooks out, get your launch pads out, get your pens and get your papers, because this is, I'm telling you, you're going to be different. And she has something for you.
And listen, I've not known her that long, but the time that I have known her, I always know that she's just dropping pearls. And there are so many people that I know that know her that are like, oh, Dr. K? Everybody knows her. So if you don't have someone to talk to help you get through healing, write down her information. She's busy, but there's always room for someone else who needs healing. So make sure you grab everything that you can, write down all the information, make this connection to help you to walk in your own healthiness.
Healing strategies. Healing strategies. Listen, I don't want to talk a whole lot more, but I do want to welcome you into this 28 Days of Love series. This is the kickoff. This is our 4th year. We want to make marriage famous.
Yes.
We want to make it large. We want to celebrate the covenant of marriage. We want to make marriage contagious because we believe that it is that foundational institution that God put in place to further the kingdom. So we need marriage to be healthy. So this year our theme is healthy marriages. And we're starting out with the womb strategies. So we can get healthy.
So make sure you share.
Yes.
You know someone who's going through some difficulties in their lives, and maybe they might not hear you. Maybe they'll hear her. So we ask you to share. All right.
I'm gonna stop talking.
We're ready. We're ready. I know they're ready.
If you don't say nothing, we'll keep talking. So are you? Can you hear us, Dr. Stallings?
Yes, I am here. I thought you were talk to the audience. I'm sorry, y'all.
Oh, no,
Hello,
no.
hello, everyone. It's good to be here. Yeah, and yes, I have known. We used to call him Brother New for quite
Yeah.
some time. Yeah. It's been more than a few years, but
Mhm.
I'll take it. But I was
Yeah.
actually in my early 20s when I met Newt, and
Yeah.
it's amazing
Mhm.
just to see how our lives have been a
Yes, man.
testament of what God can do and will do when you tell him yes. And so it's good to see him happy and whole with his beautiful wife, who is just a breath of fresh air, bubbling, effervescent, and just, got the nerve to be pretty too. So yeah, we just here, and I'm grateful for any opportunity to talk about the covenant of marriage, because
Mm.
I just love to bust that rumor up that you can't be in a happy marriage,
Yes,
that
indeed.
Come on.
Yes,
marriage
indeed.
is boring, or you can't stay with someone for a long time and be happy. Yeah, all of those are lies,
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
and I have not only been trained, and my doctorate is in marriage and family, but
I
I've
didn't
been
know that.
Come on.
Yes.
ecstatically
Yes.
still keeping the honey in the moonly to
There you
my
go.
man for
Yes,
33
indeed.
years.
Oh,
And I love it, right? And so it's
that
not
is amazing.
about the numbers, not about quantity, it's about quality. And I'm
Yes.
Yeah.
grateful to you know, be married to my soulmate. And I'm also grateful that God has literally given me a plan for marriages and
Mm.
allowed me to see the fruit. I have couples that, were going to get divorced. I have couples, um,
Right.
2 months ago, one of my couples shocked me, and they were in the midst of a divorce, and they shocked me and sent me they were renewing their vows. So,
Wow.
Wow. Beautiful.
and,
Beautiful. Beautiful.
and
Beautiful.
there are some that are together and shouldn't be together, but then there are those that are together and can make it work. And let me just say this, and then I'm done.
No, please
Give
No.
up.
say.
We give up too quick on our marriages. We just
Yes.
give
Yes.
up. We give
Yes.
up. And I think a lot of that has to do with perception. I think a lot of that has to do with us trying to create false narratives and lies we see on TV and on social
Yeah.
media.
That's right.
Your marriage is supposed to look like your marriage. It's not
Come
supposed
Yes.
to
on.
look like anybody else's. And
Yes,
so
indeed.
marriage is personal, and
Yes,
marriage
it is.
takes work, but it's worth the work. And so
Yes, it
Mm.
is.
my first thing is to say, like, don't be so if you are not in a toxic or unhealthy marriage, don't
Right.
give up on your marriage.
Right.
Right.
Don't give up
Right.
on your marriage. Like, we so
Right.
quick to give up on our
Mhm.
marriages, and I don't like
Mhm.
that. Okay, I'm done.
No. No. No.
No, I'm right with
Yes.
you. I'm
Yes.
right with you.
Mhm.
I always share with other ladies who are maybe feeling like they're going through a separation, and they say, but I have this hope. And I say, and you should.
Right.
And you should see him still
Right.
there, and you
Right.
should see
Right.
yourselves together, and you
Right.
should say, be excited when you guys want to go out and talk.
Mhm.
These are things, these are exciting points in your
Mhm.
marriage. Even though you're going through rough time, you never know what could break.
Exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. We were just talking this morning in our morning prayer about how society has made it easy.
Mm,
Society has culturized us and softened us, if you will, to think that it's normal
Yeah.
not to last, normal to break that covenant or
so
dissolve that
true.
covenant. So to hear you say that was confirmation, and that's what we want to echo. We want to echo. We say this is what we say. Marriage is simple as pie. So we say provide, invest, and empower for one another. But that pie is just what you said. It's our ingredients.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So my pie is going to be different than your pie, but we both
Mm-hmm.
have a pie.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And you got to take care of that pie, and you got to nurture
Exactly.
that pie.
Yeah.
It's just amazing to me that marriage, we get married, and then I believe, like, people think like there's a auto button, like that it just can handle itself. It just can
Mm-hmm.
nurture itself. Like, it
Yeah.
can just be. And no, you have to be
Yes,
intentional
you do.
about the
Yes, you
space
do.
of your marriage.
Wow, I love it. I
And
love it.
and it
I
takes
love
it takes, the love and the understanding and the compromising and the ups and the downs and the, learning what works and learning what doesn't work. But
That's right.
once you get a momentum and a rhythm, you're unstoppable. You're
That's
Yes, you are.
unstoppable. And
Yes, you are.
I'm a real proponent, as long as, and I always say this, and I've said it once and I'll say it again, as long as it's not abusive and it's not
Yes.
toxic, right? So we
Mhm.
always want to put that in there because nobody deserves abuse.
We
Nobody
love that.
deserves toxicity. But if your
Yeah.
marriage is just y'all just not getting along, don't give up. If
Don't
Even
give
fix
up.
that.
y'all just don't like each other, it's okay. Don't give
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Even, you know what I'm saying? I mean, let's keep it a being. Like, one thing about it, like, I don't, because it's the truth that sets us what? Free. And
Free.
so, it when you pattern your marriage after the word, and you pattern your marriage based on, people say all the time, well, Dr. K, how are you and your husband still married? And they think I'm gonna say, we pray in tongues 7 times a day, or
Yeah.
put the Bibles over our head, and no, you know why? And people get mad when I say this, but I stand 10 toes down because my husband's my best friend.
There
Right.
it is.
Right. Right.
There it is.
Right. Right.
My husband's
That's
Right.
my
what it
best
is.
friend. And
Right.
I'm not gonna treat my best friend any kind of way because I don't want to lose
Right.
him.
Right.
I want to lose
Right.
him. And so
Right.
when you have purpose in your mind and in your heart, I do not want to live without this person.
There it is.
Yes.
Pause, hard stop. I do not want to live without this person. Then you will
Yeah.
find the way, the will, the strategies, the person, the support
Yes.
group, the wise counsel, so that
Right.
you don't have to live without that person.
Right. I
Mm.
love it. I
I
love
hope
it.
you guys are writing these down.
I
I'm
love
trying
it.
to catch it in the chat.
I love it. I love it. Whenever we talk to couples, that's one of the questions, one of the foundational questions that we ask is, do you want to be married?
Mm-hmm.
You got to, if you want this, then we can, there's a way. You can find a way. I love that. The ABCs, the abuse and the cheating,
Mm-hmm.
those are things that, now you can have some different conversations
That's
if
right.
that's in play. But I love that what you're saying. So I want to ask you a question. So a lot of times in marriage relationships, you have from like scale 1 to scale of 10 of I'm gonna call them violations or things we could do to cross each other. Something as simple as I left my socks in the middle of the floor, to something as large as infidelity or something along those lines. Either way, forgiveness needs to take place. Some type of forgiveness. So can you talk to us a little bit about forgiveness as a cornerstone of healing, if you will, in our marriage relationships when things get broken?
So I think, what I teach and what I tell my couples is that there's no healing without forgiveness. The
Mm.
So
healing
good.
and forgiveness go hand in hand, right? And you have to always handle with each other with grace.
Mm.
And so grace is not only, of course, God's unmerited favor, but when I talk about grace with couples, I'm talking about the ability to see that nothing they're doing is with a malice intention, right?
Ooh.
That's good.
That you are, even if I made a mistake, I did not intentionally intend to hurt you. I did
Right.
not intentionally intend for us to get into this rough space that we're in right now. So, communication is key. But just knowing that, forgiveness is, when you talk about forgiveness, and it's like the Bible says 7 times 70. It's like, say what now? Like what? Right? But forgiveness is a heart space.
Yes, it is.
Forgiveness is understanding, and again, controversial, but I'm okay. I'm almost 60. Forgiveness, a lot of people don't understand, is not a one-time thing.
That's right.
There could be a wound that has happened, and you have to forgive over and over and over again. And so it's really important in relationships, right? And what I teach my couples is, you're gonna hurt each other. Let's keep it a bean. Like, there's gonna
That's
be
right.
times when, my husband hurts my feelings, right?
Mhm.
There's gonna be times in your marriage that your feelings get hurt, but you never want to wound each other. That's a different
That's so
space.
good.
I
That's
like
a
that.
different
I like
space. So
like that.
when there's hurting, yes, but when there's wounding, then that's very different. That's another level, right? And then we have to also understand that we all have deal breakers. But what I often find is, a lot of times one of the issues is we haven't communicated those deal breakers. So a lot of times we're in the same house and we're having these major conversations in our head. And then when we interact with our spouses, we posture ourselves as if those conversations that we've had in our head, we've had with each other, right? Isn't that true though? And then you look at it like, bruh, like what? Say what now? But that's because a lot of times we have all of these conversations in our head, and we're holding each other accountable for things we haven't communicated.
Wow, I have to jump in and say that is me. And I'll realize it when I'm saying something and I'm looking at Kim's face, and she's looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I realized that was the conversation I had with myself, and now I have to step back and I have to take another approach to this because now I'm the issue.
Yeah, and we handle each other as if we've had those conversations, and a lot of times we find that we hold each other accountable for things we haven't really said to each other.
Right.
So one of the main tips, I'm just gonna put this out here and then I'm gonna stop talking, y'all. One of the main things that I say all the time is that there must be a day once a week, and you guys pick the day as the couple, and I call it where you do a temperature check, where you do a climate check, and you sit down with each other and you say, this is what I need from you, right? And I like Wednesdays, because Wednesdays like in the middle of the week. So if I find that like my spouse is like real edgy Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday is the space where I could say, you know what, I probably need to ask you to forgive me because I've been real edgy. It's been a lot going on at work, and it's just a time every week that you do a temperature check and that you're communicating to your spouse, this is what I need right now. I'm having a rough time, or our children are causing problems and I'm taking it out on you. But there's a time when you're connecting to communicate, because in a marriage, you as the couple have the opportunity and the responsibility to set the temperature and the climate of your marriage.
That's right.
Ooh, responsibility.
You have the responsibility.
Accountability.
And because I don't care what is going on outside that door. All hell could be breaking out outside that door. But when we up in here, we get to determine the culture and the temperature of our marriage. And so take your power. Take your power and connect with your spouse once a week and communicate. This is what I need. This is how I'm feeling, because that allows you to just pause, regroup, reframe, and recommit to the space of your marriage.
I like it.
Good.
I like
so, Dr. K, you said something about hurting and wounding being two different things. And you also had mentioned that we have to look at that person and realize that they're not necessarily trying to hurt us. But how does that wound, talk about that wounding and what someone should do to help to get past that wound.
So right, either space we have to work through it, right? But and when I talk about wounds, I talk about like when your husband said, so I'm getting real agitated and like kind of like I keep telling you, please, when you take your socks off, please put them in the dirty clothes, right? So I'll tell you, and then I'll tell you again. Then I'll laugh and I'll tell you. But after a while, I feel it can make me feel unheard. It can make me feel like you're not listening to me. It can make me feel like, well, I mean, like, what is the deal? So like my feelings may get hurt because I feel unheard, right? That is very different from an infidelity space, right? At that place, that can be very wounding, right? And so those spaces are spaces that, like, if you get a cut, you may need a band-aid, you may not need a band-aid, right? But if you get a wound, the sooner you pay attention to that space, the better it would heal. And it won't be an infection, and it won't turn into something else, right? So you gotta be able to gauge what's going on. And that's why it's key that you do those times of connecting.
I like that. I like
Me
that.
too.
I was going to ask you, and then Kim said this, so this kind of adds on. I want to go back to the Wednesday, if you will, the open community, the temperature check day that you were speaking about, and because I wanted to ask about the need to address conflict, to be transparent with feelings and thoughts, no matter how controversial they may be. Can you talk a little bit about that and how that helps build deeper connections? Is there a wisdom in that? I mean, how would you tell someone to go about, exposing themselves, if you will, to their husband or wife so that healing, starts to take place?
So there's no healing without vulnerability, right? And there's no vulnerability without trust.
This is good.
And so we really have to be able to, and this is big, y'all, because you have to trust your spouse with your heart.
Yes.
Right? You have to trust your spouse with your heart, with your vulnerability, right? And so, it's important to always have a climate or a temperature where you guys are okay with sharing each other's nakedness, right? And so you're constantly creating the culture where I want you to be who you are, because it's who you are that I love, right? Because every day in life with our jobs, we have to be a certain way. We have to portray ourselves a certain way. We have to feel different roles, right? So when I come home, listen, it's it. That's it. That's all. I have reached my max, right? So I need my home to be my safe space. What are you doing as a couple to make your home a safe space? We battle all day long. It is at home that there's no battlefield.
Yes.
There's no. Now, are there conflicts? Absolutely. Are there disagreements? Oh, yeah. But it's important that you are communicating. So you guys need to understand each other's communication style. You need to understand, like, that maybe, my passion can't be mistaken for me being abrasive, right? So these kind of the ways that you communicate, you guys have to talk about that. So let me just say this, and then I'll be done. There are 3 pillars that I teach my couples, right? If you come to Dr. K for couples counseling, for marriage counseling, these are the 3 pillars. And I have to give God the credit and the honor for this, because he gave me this. Right? The 3 pillars are connectedness, compromise, and communication. Connectedness, compromise, and communication. This is what I teach my couples and my marriage
Absolutely.
couples, right? Communication. You have to be able to communicate. Communication. You cannot be sometimes you have to willing to want peace over being right.
Oh,
Communication. I
say that,
can't
sis.
I cannot hold you accountable for something I've never told you.
Good.
Communication, right? Those, understanding the style in which you communicate. What does it mean to communicate? Connectedness, right? As a couple, as a marriage couple,
Mm.
you have to be intentional about your connectedness, because the closer you are, the harder the enemy can get in there, the
Yes.
harder
Yes.
people can get in there.
Yes.
People should not be in your marriage. That's another point, but that's a whole nother live, right? But
Oh, I love it.
connectedness, right?
I love it.
Intimacy, right?
Yeah.
Um, um, doing things like temperature checks and climate checks, understanding how important it is to do things together. You should be going on date nights once a week. No ifs, ands, or buts. And there should be rules and parameters, like no phones at the date table.
Mm.
There's
Wow.
you gotta be intentional. So that's communication, connectedness. And then y'all know this, there is no relationship without compromise.
That's
Mm-mm.
Listen,
right.
it is no
Mm-mm.
longer what I want. It has to be about what we want. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
some of us have to learn what that we looks like, feels like. That we doesn't mean you're losing power. That we doesn't mean
Mm.
you're losing who you are. That
Yes.
we doesn't mean I'm no longer an individual. No, the
Right.
we means I am doing what I need to do for us to be on the same team. We are
Yeah.
teammates. You are not
Yeah.
the opponent. I don't have to play defense with you. We are on the same team. We both
I
want to
love it.
win. So let's get on the green and make it happen.
I love it. I
So,
love it.
Dr. K, excuse me,
I
can you
love it.
share a little bit? Because there are so many people, so many of us who deal with being hurt
Yeah.
and offense,
Mhm.
and then carrying that in the marriage, in the relationship. And some of those things come from childhood, as we know.
That's okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and we
Mhm.
carry it along. Could you kind of just share with women where to begin to deal with that hurt, how to identify it, and to start addressing it so that they can move into healthy
Mhm.
relationships?
So I always say it's important. It is so important before you get into a marriage that you go on a healing journey, right?
Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
Ooh.
so important because, and here's the thing, y'all, the only way you find out how you are with people is by being with people, right? So it's
So
like
Mm.
true.
Right.
it's like a catch 22, right? So
Yeah. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
ain't really
Yeah.
gonna know how I am with people until I am with people. So like it's really really hard, right? But
Yeah.
the
Right.
reality is I tell all, men and women, it is important. It's what you deserve to
Yes.
work on your soul, the space of your emotions,
Okay.
because you can only show up as healthy as you are. And
My God.
so you can't fake the funk of you, because you're with you all the time. You can't get
All
All
the
the
away
time.
from
time.
you, right? And so working through those childhood traumas and those different spaces of hurt, because they will come up in the marriage. And a lot of times, they'll come up in ways that tend to end the marriage or cause
Mhm.
chaos and conflict in the marriage,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
it's really important that you really begin to deal with those insecurities and those feelings of less than, or feeling not good enough, or feeling, insignificant or unseen or not, because the reality is that those traumatic
Yes.
experiences will come
Yes.
up in that
Yes.
space of marriage,
Yes.
right? And so in
Right.
order for you to be able to apologize, in order for you to understand, that if he wants to go with with his boys, that doesn't mean he doesn't want to be with you. That just means he wants to be with his boys, right? That if she wants to go on a girls trip, that don't mean she don't want to be with you. She just wants to go on a girls trip, right? So it's not me doing me as an individual is not dismissing my spouse. In fact, me doing me actually helps me show up better for my spouse.
Yes, indeed.
Good.
Yes,
Because
indeed.
there has to be balance, right? There has to be, like, I as a woman am a woman, right?
Right.
And
Right.
and I am whole as a woman. And my husband helps me in other areas, right? But I'm whole by myself. He doesn't make me whole. I come here whole because I've done my work. Yes. And so I admonish you, if you aren't married, please go on a healing journey before you get married. But if you're married and finding that things are coming up for you, give yourself permission to begin a healing journey. Give yourself permission to maybe start therapy, right? Give yourself permission to be the best that you can be. And sometimes that won't happen until you start a healing journey.
Yes.
So you mentioned healing. You said it about 6 times in the last couple of minutes. And I know this is your profession, so I don't want you to give all your stuff away. So listen, if she's Dr. K is going to let us know how to get in touch with her. She has an open Facebook page, actually a wonderful Facebook page. If you can go to, you can contact her from there. But can you tell us just a little, just a taste of what you mean by healing journey?
So wow. So I think it goes back to what some of the things your wife talked about, right? Beginning to really deal with the various wounds that you have endured. I think a lot of times, specifically for the church, oh, the church, right? We want to, a lot of times we stigmatize mental health. A lot of times, you hear, you don't need a therapist, you need Jesus. A lot of times you hear, that's a demon, right? And so the space of mental health and a healing journey is something that we really need to continually work on and admonish people that it is what they deserve, right? A lot of times, listen, life has lifed a lot of people. And you were not built to house the different traumas and various experiences that you endured. And just because you have gotten to a different age or a different space in your life doesn't mean you've been healed.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
It doesn't mean, a lot of times I'm grown and because of arrested development, because you've been holding on to, because you've been trying to forget, because you've been trying to dance over and not dance through, because you believe that dealing with those different mental health issues that are coming up for you means you don't have faith or you're being carnal. You won't give yourself permission to let the healer heal. See, we're okay with him healing our cancer, healing our diabetes, healing our heart, high blood pressure. But he's a healer of heart issues too.
Yes.
He's a healer of your emotions. He's a healer of that space where you were misused and you were mishandled. He wants to heal you from the inside out so that when you get in relationships, you won't be triggered. You won't throw a good thing away because you've got the wrong perception, or your worldview is tainted, or you can't hear because wounds are in your ear gate. You can't see because all you see is pain. You don't really trust. You want to trust them, but you can't trust them because your pathway's not clear because you haven't gotten on a healing journey. And so a lot of relationships end up in divorce or end up in bad spaces because we haven't learned how to deal with ourselves, and then we look for others to deal with our stuff, and they're dealing with their stuff, and
Yeah.
then you got stuff all over the place, and
Yes.
hence it's just a
Yes.
mess, right?
Yes.
It's just a mess. And so
Yes.
we've got to allow God to do what he wants to do. He wants us healed and
Yes,
whole
indeed.
from the inside out, because
Mm.
healthy marriages can birth healthy families, and
Right.
healthy families can birth healthy churches, and healthy churches can build healthy communities. It all goes together. God is so
Wow.
wise. If we
Yeah.
would just follow
Yeah.
his plan and his purpose
Yeah.
and stop trying to do it on our own, we would
Yeah.
find ourselves in such a better space.
Yes.
So good. I want to just share a few of the comments. My sister posted, I remember being afraid of what healed me looked like because I didn't know what to expect. She said the pain was too familiar that it became a privilege to carry.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I say all the time, people come into the space of therapy, the space of healing, with a lot of preconceived notions, with a lot of Hallmark Channel scenarios, with a lot of TikTok talk scenarios. And the reality is, I'm here to tell you, let's just bust this wide open. Healing is hard.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah.
Healing is hard. Learning
Yeah.
to let go of sometimes the very thing that has held you together for your whole life, that ain't
Yep.
easy. Learning to allow your brain to create new pathways, get a brand new mindset, that ain't easy.
Nah.
Unlearning
Yes.
the very precepts and concepts that you thought, listen, I got this thing down pat, and your down pat is dysfunctional.
Yes,
That
Mm.
ain't
indeed.
easy. That ain't
Nah.
easy. But
Nope.
you are
Nope. Nope.
worth it. And you have to
Yes,
Mm.
indeed.
remind yourself, I tell my clients all the time, you are worth the work. You
Mm.
are worth
Yes, indeed.
the work. But it
Yes,
ain't
indeed.
easy. But you
Yes,
find a
indeed.
therapist that will walk with you, that will partner with you, that will
Wow.
allow you to do your work. It will change your life. Therapy is a God space.
Yes, it is.
Love it.
Therapy,
Love
when you find a
it. Love it.
safe, filled
Yeah.
therapist, that's a
Feel.
God space. Because guess what?
Mhm.
If that therapist is filled, then God is there, because that therapist is filled with him,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
it's a God space. It's a God space. And so, yeah, healing, I appreciate that, because we've got these different perceptions of, oh, I'm going on my healing journey. La 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 la. Yeah, no. Say what now? You say, huh? You mean I ain't supposed to talk like that? You mean I'm mean? You mean that wasn't
Okay.
kind? You mean that's not empathetic?
Mhm.
I mean all of that, man. It's you mean, but it healing interrupts patterns and breaks cycles.
Yes,
Sometimes
it
Yes.
does.
it's
Yeah.
not a generational curse, it's
Yeah.
generational trauma.
Choice. Uh-huh.
We call it choice,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
trauma it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
No.
But let me a word of wisdom. It is
Mm-hmm.
a choice, but sometimes it's the only choice, because you
Ooh, okay.
haven't given yourself the space to learn different choices.
I've been there. Yes. Yes, indeed.
Right?
Yes,
I did
indeed.
the best I could.
Yes,
That's
indeed.
good. But God wants to give you more strategies and more tools.
Right. Right. You
So
got it.
good.
So do you, when we talk about healing versus wholeness, which is a whole nother question, healing or whole, is it the same or not the same? Do you see more willingness in females or in males?
So I see willingness in souls that are sick and tired of being sick and
That's it.
tired.
That's it. That's
Right?
it.
I don't think, I think that I have male clients and female clients.
Right. Right.
So I believe, the soul, the space of our will and intellect and our emotions, it's our container. It is,
Yes.
we're housed in our soul.
Right.
And when your soul is falling apart, you're falling apart. That's
Mhm,
male or
mhm.
female, right?
Right.
Right.
And that's why it's so important. So, I'm real leery about answering questions like that, New, right?
Mhm.
Because I now more than ever, I really want my brothers, because I mean, this is Black History Month. Let's talk about it. Listen,
Right.
it's nothing harder than being a Black man in America. Y'all
Mm.
deserve healing times 100, because it's hard, right? And
Mhm.
and when you talk about Black History Month, there is a thing called racial trauma.
Yes.
And
Mhm.
some people don't that have never heard that, but that's a real thing, right?
Mm.
There are different traumatic experiences that we will endure simply because of the color of our skin. Again, all of these layers that we bring into where? The space of our
Yeah.
marriage.
So,
Yeah. Our
The
mhm.
space of our
families.
Yeah.
marriage, our families, our souls, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, so you all of this stuff is relevant. It's
Mhm,
all
mhm.
relevant. Yeah. Yeah.
But that's what I wanted you to say. I wanted you to point out that, when an individual is tired, then they're open. When
Mhm.
individuals tired, then they're open. Male,
Mhm.
female, doesn't matter.
Mhm.
And just all the stigmas that go along with just asking for help
Yeah, that part.
is
It's horrible. And
yeah.
and in some spaces it's really demonic,
Mm.
because the only thing that the enemy can do is kill, steal, and destroy.
That's
He
Mhm,
it.
mhm.
cannot stand the space of healing and wholeness.
That's right.
Wow.
He can't stand that, because that's nothing like him. And
Wow.
so, it it is God's desire that you, and see, that's the thing, right? When I do therapy, the key thing is understanding your identity. See, when
Mhm.
Mm.
you know who you are, that's a game changer. No, like that's a when I understand and believe that in
Uh,
him I live and move and have my
nah,
being. I
nah,
listen, yo, say what
yeah,
now? Like,
yeah,
huh? Like that's a game changer. And so
yeah.
many of us have, gotten our identity from the space of our wounds, have gotten our identity from
Wow.
what people told us, have gotten our identity from social media, have gotten our identity. We become what has hurt us.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
when you begin healing, you begin
Mm.
to understand your identity is wrapped up in what he says. Listen, he has the last say, not what you went through. And you begin to align the space of your emotions with what he says. And so I am who he says I am. That's
Yeah.
where healing begins to break open, because a
Mm.
lot of us, we don't know who we are and we don't know whose we are.
I love it. I love it. I love
So,
it.
Dr. K, for just go back a little bit,
Mhm.
for a wife who is dealing with pain in the relationship and there's some breakage happening in the relationship, what would you share with her today who is trying to figure out what to do? And they're at this breaking point. They want to stay, but they are so devastated inside. What would you say to her or to him,
Mhm.
who is looking for maybe this is at they're at that road mark and they're
Mhm.
like, I'm ready to throw in the towel?
Mhm.
What would you say to them to help them to hold on a little bit longer or a little more?
So first I would, ask them, how did we get here, right?
Hmm.
Right.
Because context matters.
Yeah.
You can't solve a problem without understanding a problem.
Hmm.
And so I think that, the truth of the matter is there are times, right, in our marriages, okay, sorry, that sometimes you may feel like, bruh, this is too much. I can't do this. I didn't sign up for all of this, right?
Yeah.
And so you really have to really do some soul searching and ask yourself what is going on inside of me, right? And
That's
then
good.
it's really time to sit down, and you need to have a heart to heart with your spouse, because you're not in this marriage by yourself. You can't fix it by yourself. You can't, if you want to hold on, but they want to let go, there has to be two people committed to that space, right? And so, you know, you communication is very important. Saying to your spouse, I'm really feeling hopeless. Like I don't like the direction in which this is going. I
Wow.
feel like we are pulling apart instead of pulling together. What do you think we need to do? Are we willing to do it? I want to. Do you? And really beginning to have those conversations. And if you feel like you can't have those conversations, or it's difficult to have those conversations, you probably should go to therapy.
Yeah.
Because a therapist is, non-biased. A therapist is prayerfully trained to do the kind of couples work that you need to do. When I have marriage therapy and couples therapy, I meet with them together, but then I meet with them separately, because you find out you want to really know what's going on in that situation, break them apart and listen to their narrative, the narrative. Then I bring them back together, because then I'm like, okay, I see what's going on here. But I really couldn't find that out until I spoke with them separately. And so it's important to communicate and be honest. Be honest with each other, because again, you want your mate to be able to be trusted with your nakedness.
That's so good.
Yes.
So good.
Want to keep pushing the issue. Can you tell us? I have like so many things running through my mind, but you said this earlier and it came back up again. So I think it would benefit people to hear the benefits of that transparency and vulnerability. And I'm just saying that because I know I had to learn to do that. So I walked through an addiction, and there's a lot of shame, a lot of guilt.
Absolutely.
I was raised in a household with a very strong old school male. So it was man, woman. It was, hierarchy. So there was a lot going on in me that I didn't even know was going on in me. But when I, went to therapy, counseling, and began to walk out of where I was, the transparency that I had to show, I had to learn that. But there was such a benefit to me. So I don't want to answer the question I'm asking you, because I want you to kind of tell, like, what is the benefits of that transparency, of getting vulnerable? And I'm speaking more to men right now, because I think we have a tendency to not want to be as transparent as others. But I don't know. I'm not a woman.
So Newt, I would ask you, how did you get there? What helped you to get there?
Well, for me, again, I was at the bottom of a bottom. I came to a crossroad. So God will remove things and let you. There's enough pain out there. If you want some pain, you can go back, and there's more and more out there for you. But I believe God strategically, when enough's enough, will move a thing out of your life that really matters. So when that thing was touched in my life, out of all the years that I, played the addiction game, and managed, I thought I was managing, functional, they called it. When that one thing was touched, now it had my attention, right? So I had to make a choice. Am I going to go left, or am I going to go right? I didn't know what right was, but I knew if I went left and I decided, okay, I'm just going to go get high all the time, I knew that was either dead, strung out, stroked out, locked up. I knew that, but I didn't know it was on this side over here.
Mm.
So counseling, addiction counseling and things of that sort, going to meetings and all those kind of things helped me to kind of get on my feet. So, but to answer your question, to me, that was just like the deliverance part of healing to me. I still had to walk through it, and I had to become whole. I had to take up my bed and walk. And I found that in Kim.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one person that I could be transparent to, who wasn't going to throw me away.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
So there was this moment of clarity, something she said to me, and I saw in her eyes that, she got me. She got me no matter what. So, try it. Say it. Go ahead and say it. And see what she does. So I exposed some things and she didn't blink. So the fear, the false emotion that appeared real, at that moment, the worst thing I thought could happen didn't happen.
Wow.
So then I was able to try again and try again. So over time, just became transparent and said, you know what? If I'm transparent ahead of time, I don't never have to go there again. That's how it happened for me.
Yeah.
But I mean, I know you probably deal with more people than I do.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's anything you could add to that might help someone.
I love that, Dr. Newton, and I can't wait to read your life story that I hope that you write one day. No, and I'm very serious. But one of the things that you said, first of all, it is my belief that healing and deliverance are two separate spaces.
Yes.
Okay. And so we can go through deliverance, right? So we can go through deliverance from the drug. We can go through deliverance from the whatever we need deliverance from. But the healing is how we change our mindset. The healing is how, like, God can take the appetite, but the healing allows us to hold on to what we need to maintain the change of appetite, right? And so a lot of times I think people try to put those things together, but they're very much separate. They're very much separate, right? And the second thing I heard you say as you were talking, Newt, is that you were able to trust Kim with your nakedness. And see, life and trauma, and wounds takes that ability from us. Yes. Because not only do we stop trusting people, we even can start trusting ourselves. Right?
Good.
Right?
Yeah.
And so like, and I could get into theory about attachment theory and stuff like, but I'm not gonna go there. But it's really important that there's, and like I said, there's no truth. There's no freedom without truth. There's no truth without freedom. And so if you can't be naked with your spouse, then there's some work that needs to be done on your part and maybe on their part, right? Because the reality is, when we've gone through a lot of wounds, we begin to trust other people have our best interests at heart. We begin to think that everybody has an agenda. We'll pray, God, send me help, and then the help come and we look at it cockeyed because what's going on inside of us, right?
Yes.
And so we have to ask God to heal our heart to really trust again. And then when he begins to heal our heart to trust again, a lot of times the pathway becomes clear. And what's in the way is a lot of our traumas and a lot of our pains that haven't been uprooted and a lot of that stuff that we just hid. But once the pathway becomes clear, then we're able to trust people. And then we got to work on trusting ourselves. You know, and it's the same with forgiveness, right? That's another, like when you talk about forgiveness, we not only have to, a lot of times when you talk about healing and forgiveness, we not only have to forgive others,
Yeah.
we got to forgive ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to get rid of all that guilt and all that
Yes,
shame. You
indeed.
know, shame
Yes, indeed.
is not I've done bad. Shame is I am bad.
Yes.
And so there's it's real different, right? And so there's a
Yeah.
lot
Yeah.
of times, you know, we got to start forgiving, you got to forgive yourself for the mistakes you made. You got to, reread that scripture that talks about a righteous man fall of seven, therefore there's no condemnation. You got to say, hey, hold up. Condemnation is not mine. I walk in the space of grace. You got to, you got to change your own brain to receive the new space of healing.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, yeah.
I love that.
That is so good, Dr. K. Look, I was like, you helping tonight, sis. Come on.
So if you're a listener out there, I want you to look up the word neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
Just so you can have a natural definition of the concepts that Dr. K is talking about. Natural neuroplasticity and growth mindset. Just throw it out there for you.
See, he being deep, y'all. I'm a common girl. I'm just saying, like healing, change your brain wave. Listen, trauma changed your brain. Healing will do the same thing.
Yes.
Yes, indeed.
Hallelujah. Healing will do the same thing. You hear what I tell you? Yes. Absolutely.
Listen, Dr. K, we love you. We love you. We love you. We love you. And spend some time with us. Oh man, I got goosebumps. The hairs on my neck.
Yeah, we're gonna talk We're gonna talk a lot tonight.
My eyes watering up. I need to catching allergy attacks and everything going on. You done stirred something up in here. And if you're one of our launchers, or you're out, 20. And something's not moving inside you, I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So go back and play the replay a couple times. Listen, I don't know. So before we go, because I know this is your business, I know you have a couple of books. I know you have a plethora of resources out there, and I know you're only one you, so I don't know how many people you can serve. So can you share something with us, how to contact you? Do you have a team? Your
no
resources?
Team, but come on and speak that thing into existence, sir. But I am actually taking clients now, and would love and be honored and consider it a privilege to partner with people on their healing journey. It's only God, because if you had told me that I would be helping people in the very spaces where I thought I was going to die, in the very spaces that people left me to die, in the very spaces where I was so wounded, there were not enough bandages to cover me, I know that God can and he will, because he's no respecter of persons. And so it is out of that space that God has given me Heal My Wounded Place. And so, yes, I am taking clients. I have written one of my books, When Faith and Trauma Collide. My recent book, I did a book on, recently I wrote an ebook on imposter syndrome and gaslighting. I do webinars. I am a conference speaker. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram, working on my YouTube, because everybody's been saying, Dr. K, you need a YouTube. So I'm doing that. But it's an honor and a privilege to be trusted with God's leaders. My thing is creating safe space for leaders to heal. Everybody can't understand the weight of a leader. Everybody can't understand the weight and the journey of those who lead. And guess what? If you're a parent, you're a leader. If you know what I'm saying, we're all leaders in some way, right? It's so true. And so, immediately when people hear the word leader, they think of somebody behind a pulpit. That is not the only space we lead. No, listen, you may be a marketplace leader. If you're a
Right.
teacher, you're a leader.
You're a
Listen,
leader.
All the time.
anything if you're coming in contact with people, then God wants you to be healed and whole because you are an
Man, she froze.
epistle read of
Get her back.
men. Hallelujah. And so
There you go.
I'm grateful, and I would love for people to go to my website and subscribe. When you subscribe to my website, you do get a free gift. Not only do you get a free gift, sir.
What's the
What's your
website?
website?
We're gonna
Oh,
put
I'm
it on
sorry.
here.
Okay, www.healmywoundedplace.com.
Got you.
And I would love for your listeners to subscribe to my website because not only do you get a free gift, but I every week I give tips, I give strategies. You know, a lot of times I do specials. I'm doing a Black History Month special this month and giving a discount on my services. I do individual, I do family, I do couples, I do marriage. I also do healing from religious and church hurt trauma.
Wow.
And so all of that is on my website. So I'd love for your listeners to subscribe. I'd love for your listeners to begin a healing journey. It is what they deserve. It's not what you need. You don't need healing. You deserve it.
My God.
Got it.
Well, you guys see, I have it posted in the chat, www.healmywoundedplace.com. I also listed two of the books, Healed My Wounded Place, the book she wrote, as well as When Faith and Trauma Collide.
Right.
Dr. Karen, there was one other book, and I didn't get to write it down.
Gaslighting. And
Gaslighting.
Imposter syndrome and gaslighting. I've done a book on childhood trauma. I've done a book on how to forgive yourself. All my books are on my website. All my books are on my website.
Okay,
Yep. So as soon as you go on there, you can go to my bookstore and bing, bing, bing. They'll all pop up. I believe in studying. I want to always represent him well. Yes. I want to represent him well. And I solicit the prayers of your listeners. And I do not take any time that God allows me to speak. I don't take it for granted. I appreciate y'all so much for allowing me to come on tonight.
Oh no, we appreciate
you. We are so glad you came. We had you a few years ago when we were in Arizona, when you came and shared about very similar thing about abuse and
domestic violence. Yeah, I remember that, y'all. I remember that. Y'all think I forgot that? I remember that.
Around that COVID time, we love you. We love you. Don't want to hold you up any longer.
You guys go to that website, hit it today, get yourself a book and walk into your healing. You know, she said we deserve it. So let's get it.
So just a question. Do you have like a daily or I'm going to call it boot camp or something where people subscribe to you and, you know, we come in for that 15, 20 minutes a day?
Listen, what I think I may need one, huh, Brother Lou? I love that. I think that would be amazing. Maybe I need to. Yeah, I like that. I like that, Lou.
One of my teacher friends just posted on here, thank you for taking the assignment and hearing from God. She says, bless you so much. So people are really blessed. Someone else is saying, I appreciate this time and space in this place. So they thank you.
Yes. Listen, as we go, we got to go.
Yeah.
Do you have any last words, any last tidbits, any last things you want to leave people with so that they can begin their healing journey?
When the man was at the pool of Bethesda, and he was there and he was around nothing but sick folk and impotent folk. And he kept looking around and all he saw was what he felt and what he was experiencing. But then came a man named Jesus. And he didn't say, how long you been here? He didn't say, are you sick? He didn't say, you look like you have demons. He asked him one question. He said, wilt thou be made whole? And the Father asks you on tonight, wilt thou be made whole. He has raised up vessels in this time and in this season to allow you to experience him through the journey of healing. You do not have to stay in the space that you're in. I don't care how long you've been there. I don't care who threw you there. It does not matter. Today is the beginning of the rest of your life. I decree and declare you will be all that he has purposed and promised you to be. You cannot lose. You are a winner. You are more than conqueror. God has you. Trust him. There's no failure in him. We trust him because he's trustworthy. We depend upon him because he's dependable. God will have the last say. In Jesus' name, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Woo! Look, the folks is ready to run. We gotta go because we done used enough of Dr. K's time, but the folks is ready to run.
hey, New, look for that boot camp. I think I need to do that. I think I'm gonna do that, New. No,
I'm gonna write some stuff down and contact you.
I need you. I need you too. I love y'all so much. Thank you for allowing me to be here. Love y'all.
Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. All right.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Hey, I'm Kim.
And I'm Dr. New. And it's that time of year again
for 28 Days of Love. And it's year 4, New.
How about that?
Year 4.
We got a lineup for you. We have some new things. This is called the Healthy Marriage Series.
Yes.
Going from the 3rd of February through the 28th of February. We have guest speakers. We have interviews with marriage couples. We have panel discussions, live panel discussions.
Yes, at our church. 260 Lafayette Street every Thursday evening, and you can come and be a part of the studio audience.
Everything happens at 6:30 p.m. and we broadcast it live on our Facebook page, our 28 Days of Love Facebook page, and our YouTube channel, Launch 360 TV. Listen, you don't want to miss this one. We're celebrating, we're making big and making large the institution of marriage because covenant is real.
Yes, it is. And we have so many special guests starting out on Monday. So you don't want to miss it. We're starting out with Dr.K and Stallings. And that's all I'm going to say. Check out our lineup and we can't wait to see you for 28 Days of Love.